welcome back to day 2 of the Lab West MyNext 2025 podcast. And our thought leadership sponsorship for this afternoon is RothLochston. And I have the pleasure here of having Marty Gregory, who's the president and founder of RothLochston. So Marty, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started with RothLochston.
Native Newfoundlander, born small town like most people in Newfoundland.
Yep.
I was born in Spaniards Bay to a large family. Attended Moore University, done mechanical engineering there. Extended my studies after that in welding engineering and some other areas. Started RothLochston in 1996. So next February we'll be 30 years in business.
That's amazing.
Next June we'll be 30 years in Lab West. We've done a lot of business here over the years. Growing our business, of course. We're probably the biggest service provider in the mining industry up here. I think we are probably by far. We employ, I would say 90 plus, close to 100% of our workforce are Newfoundlanders. We operate 5 different business units across the country. We operate industrial maintenance, which is what we do a lot of here. We do industrial construction, of course. We build plants. A few years ago, we were instrumental in building. We had 800 employees on the site at Long Harbour, building the Valet hydromet smelter there. We were there for 2 years. So that's our construction division. We have a division out west that operates out of Fort McMurray. Does a lot of work for CNRL at the Horizon site and the Albion Sands site. Doing similar services, maintenance support, warehousing, scaffolding services, and insulation services. In the construction and maintenance, we do mechanical, electrical, civil, pretty much a wide field of services. We've been at it a long time. We also have a business in Ontario that design builds. It's called Platecon Projects, that design builds large scale storage for oil and fluid storage facilities like tank farms and things like that, and like fuel systems. And we have our manufacturing facilities back at our head office in St. John's, where we do pipe spooling for the offshore, and we do a lot of general fabrication for every industry and for our own business units.
Wow.
So, we typically run 500 people, 700 people sometimes. We've been up as high as 1,400 people across the country. We're one of the biggest. We're a large employer in Newfoundland and Labrador. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's very impressive. You're all across Canada, so.
We are, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful, Marty. And in terms of the announcements, or not so much the announcements, but the energy from the talks yesterday and the presentations that were given yesterday morning, a lot of excitement with the power line, coming through, and Kami on the horizon, and, the other mines. What does that mean for RothLochston? Well,
it'll sustain our business. We have a good root business here, right? We do a lot of business in Lab West. We do a lot of business in Voisey Bay. We do a lot of business in Churchill Falls. We're doing a large project in Churchill Falls right now. We've always been on these sites. So, any development up here, we're usually a part of. And our perspective is, we want to help build it and we want to help maintain it. So we want to build long-term relationships. We're strategic about that. Here in Lab West, and I've went to a lot of the presentations this last 2 days, here in Lab West, you find that, I've been here long enough, 30 years, here in the community, that you see the challenges, right? And here in Lab West, it's, there's a huge human resource issue and there's a huge infrastructure issue.
Yes.
And it's been challenging. Like, even to get land here now, it's even for industrial use or for, like, we just built a new office here last year, right? I mean, how long it took took longer to get the land than it is to take to build a building, right? It is challenging. There's a huge power shortfall here. I mean, you've seen the presentation yesterday, I'm sure. Mr. Parsons from Newfoundland Labrador Hydro presented. I mean, it's been a long time talked about. I mean, and we're at these tables, so we know how long these things have been an issue. When you think about a big park like Wabush Industrial Park, which is a very big industrial centre here in Lab West, there's a lot of businesses there, right? But there's virtually no power for those businesses, right? It's only like they only really have house service as opposed to industrial service, and it's that's behind the times, right? So we need this power here. We need land. And the players here, especially the government, needs to take a bigger, leadership role in terms of, I think the development will happen if those infrastructure, we need a bigger airport. I mean, I know that it's only like 2 years ago that we finished the renovation to the existing airport, but it's still not up to where they need it to be, right? And, those types of infrastructure, they bring investment and they bring business, obviously, and it brings people. And the town itself has lots of opportunity to grow. It has become more or less here, Lab West, and we've been here a long time, of course. You see the transition, right? It is very much fly in, fly out now, which I'm hoping that's not a strategy on part of the big mining companies. Maybe they don't want to invest in the community. I'd be disappointed if that's the case. I don't hear them say that, but I'm not seeing the actions. There's always been a lot of talk in Lab West. We've seen it yesterday, of course, and all the, the government announced, government presentations and whatnot. I don't want to be too down on the government either. I mean, thing is, they are the leaders. Talk can be cheap. The people of Lab West do need action, and this is a big industry.
And one of the things I really, heard yesterday, and you're right, these are issues that have been ongoing for a long time. I mean, I lived here as well for 16 years, but, I did hear yesterday a lot of talk about partnership, teamwork, working together. So, I like to be optimistic to think that all parties, all levels of government and, the big players and whatnot can come together. There's so much opportunity here. I mean, I look at Lab West, it's the land of opportunity, but yes, there's challenges. So, you need to overcome a lot of the challenges to really reap the benefits of the opportunities. And, I hope that, through the, events like this, that it continues with the conversations. It continues to highlight both opportunities and challenges, and then how do all important players and parties come together.
It's, it can get frustrating. And I see that at every level, even from, young people, education, medical facilities, access to, reasonable price flights, transportation. It is isolated community, right? Beautiful community, lovely people, hardworking people, typical Newfoundlanders. But, we need bigger leadership. We need significant investment. I think that can happen with the right moves on the government's part in terms of opening up land. I don't know exactly what the challenges are there. I keep in touch with it because I'm looking for more land here now myself for our business. In fact, I had discussions this week about it. It is very, extremely limited. And then, it just needs to, I think we need more action. And the collaboration is a big word you hear now.
Yes.
And we're seeing that in our business. Our clients want to be more collaborative. I was fortunate enough, actually, just a few weeks ago in December, I was invited by Dominic Barton to go to Rio Tinto's, annual board meeting that was held in Montreal. And as a major vendor for Rio Tinto, it was quite an experience. But I got to meet 3 or 4 board members, had some great meetings. Not something that I'm used to. But there was 3 or 4 other vendors there, and they listened, they collaborated, they were very sincere about what they wanted to talk about.
Good.
It was a great opportunity for everybody at the table to have a discussion at a very high level when you think about Rio Tinto being the second biggest mining company on earth, and me as a representative of RothLochston, the owner, to be able to get an opportunity to sit at the table, it was an eye opener for me. And you see a lot of big players there, of course, but it was very collaborative. I was surprised actually at the concerns of collaboration, ideas around the table. In one case, we were talking about a topic, And when it came around to me and I said, like, I got nothing to add. Everybody is after expressing every idea that I had. It's already been discussed here. And I just want to reinforce it, which was refreshing. It's, it was great to see that people are thinking on that level. And that needs to continue. Collaboration is something that, because we got our ideas and we want to help the owner get better at what they do. And there was a lot of discussion around, if you want us to invest in your business as a client, you need to invest in our business too. You need to make commitments to us. Obviously, if I'm going to build infrastructure in Lab West to support the mining industry, I need commitments from my clientele, from the owners, from the mining companies to justify that in investment, right? And we've always done that. I openly told them, like, we work in many industries and we work for all the big players, from ExxonMobil to Cenovus to Vale. They're all our customers. CNRL, the biggest customer, the biggest clients on earth. And the players here in Lab West, the IOCs, the Coras and that, they are our best customers. They have nothing against anybody else, but we have a longer relationship with them. It's a steady state relationship where we always done business with them, and we hope we continue to do that. We find them very fair to deal with. They can be challenging, just like I'm sure they find us challenging sometimes. Similar values. I think that comes from the fact that, Lab West is Lab West, and it has those core, hardworking, solid people. You can build relationships here.
You can.
It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. It's a very expensive place to operate. Like, I tell people, like, if you want to operate in Lab West, you better own everything you have. It's not a place to be in debt, because sometimes you get strikes. You get how the mining industry is. It's cyclic. Very cyclic. It's a little bit of a lull right now, actually, right? And of course we got challenges. Tacora has got financial challenges, right? They're struggling. I think they're on the right path now with Cargill. Obviously, they're a big player. I mean, I think Cargill actually is probably one of the biggest private entities in the United States. So, that's a great partnership. So I hope that works out for them, and it'll work out for everybody. Because we want to see the town of Wabash survive and grow and become a going concern, right? And that's what we need, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's jobs at stake, right? Yeah.
And so for your business, Marty, you have a big footprint.
Yeah.
You have a big presence here.
Yep.
Roughly at the peak time, what's your employment like for in this area?
Just right here?
Yeah.
Oh, we run, when we're busy here, like, if we're like we get into shutdown mode and or in a rebuild situation, we can run 200-300 people here now easily. Yeah, easily. Yeah. Just here in Lab West. So never mind the rest of our operations, just here, right?
So a major contributor to the.
But typically we have 200-250 people here, back and forth. That's obviously turnarounds. Yes. But the total workforce, in terms of, there might not be 200 here or 250 all the time, because it's on cycle, because you can't accommodate everybody here. Most of our people, we own a good bit of property ourselves here. Our staff are all in our houses and whatnot. But our workforce usually stays in camps, so it's in IOC camp or whatnot. So we have a big presence here, and we've been here a long time.
We do. Any plans to celebrate your 30 years?
We haven't. We're just starting to talk about that. Nice. Where unfortunately, we need to be better at that. We're not. We're pretty low key about our business. I'm like that personally myself. I'm fairly private, but my communications group were always pushing me to spread our wings. Here I am having an interview. It's not something that I commonly do at all. I'm pretty low key. We go about our business and we go home to our families. Is what we typically do.
But it's important to share your story.
Yes,
you have.
Well, we need to attract. We need to attract. Like we're a well-educated group. I mean, my staff is very highly educated. Majority of the staff are CAs, human resource people like yourself, a lot of engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, a lot of technicians. So everybody, to operate at the level that you need to operate. I mean, education is important, and we certainly support that. And we invest a lot in employee development. So and then you get into all our trades, which are all highly skilled trades. So it's important for us to be out there and for people to know who we are, and attract new employees. And that's becoming a bit easier for us every year since we put ourselves out there. We want to be an employer of choice. That's one of our goals. One of our large goals is being an employer of choice. And to be able to do that, I mean, what we find now is that employees, they're interviewing us as much as we're interviewing them. And you need to be aware. You need to be aware of that.
Are.
And it's really satisfying to see someone really well qualified, educational requirements, very high skilled, very well educated, choose us as their employer, especially an experienced person. And we've had experiences with that, obviously, all our business life, but we're sort of emphasizing a little bit more. It's certainly a big win when you get an employee who truly wants to come for us, work for us for the right reasons, and we want them to come to work for us. Yes. And it's very satisfying. They typically become a team member very quickly, and it just goes off from there because they have the skills, right? And of course, education there's no supplement for that,
and
right?
And that old saying goes, you take care of your people, and your people will take care of you.
Yeah.
And I am a huge believer in that. So, but again, if you want people to be attracted to you, you're right. You have to make people aware, who RothLochston is, what you have to offer, what your culture is, what your values are. So, again, thank you for your sponsorship here. At the thought leadership is what we like to call this event here. As part of MyNext. So I really appreciate you taking the time as well.
Listen,
as a sponsor yourself, and not send somebody else, because that's easy to do.
Yeah.
It's easy for us as the owners to put other people there. My goal for 2025 is to become more comfortable with being uncomfortable, because when we put ourselves out there as leaders and we stretch ourselves, then the rest of our leadership team will do that.
Well, you set an example, right?
You do.
I was over to the steak night last night, and I was talking to some gentleman at the table, and it was a businessman from Montreal that I know, and he was surprised that I was here, and he asked, he knew who I was, obviously, and just getting to know each other, and one of our engineers was with me. And Trevor spoke up and said, Marty was in the toolbox this morning at 6 o'clock on site. And he was like, what? And that's what we do. I mean, I go to those things, go in and talk to our crews, stress to them what it means to me to have them working for us, tell them that we care about their health and safety, listen to their concerns, encourage them to speak up. I'm a big advocate of employee rights when it comes to safety. I think there's a lot of opportunity there for employees to be more educated in what their rights are. That's a personal thing that I promote myself. We live it in our business, and it's being true to them too, right? And
absolutely.
So we're still very hands-on. I'm still very hands-on, and our whole business is like that. And we stay connected with the front line. I'm not sitting in a suite somewhere, directing traffic. We get out on the sites, we talk to our employees, and we try to generate that relationship that we need so that they understand that we're in this together. And if you create that kind of teamwork, you can have success, right?
Absolutely.
And you succeed together, and you succeed together, right? And it's, as we all know, I mean, talk is cheap. Your actions speak way louder than words.
Absolutely.
That's what worries me about some of the things that we just talked about in terms of what the government says and what the government does and what the mining companies say and what they do. I think there's an opportunity now for everybody to show some action. It is an enormous amount of opportunity. Newfoundland and Labrador always had a lot of opportunity, obviously. Some of it gets wasted, some of it don't, obviously. It needs to be managed well, but success can be there when it's managed well and it's done for the right reasons, right? And it's done with integrity. Everybody can succeed, right? And I think the population needs that, right?
Absolutely.
Certainly our young children do. Yeah.
Well, Marty, thank you so much for taking time for us to have this conversation, for you to talk a little bit more.
We appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, and to talk a little bit more about RothLochston. So I wish you great success for the next day and a half of the remainder of MyNext. And I wish you all the very best, and I will be watching for your celebrations.
Good luck
for
in your business
year.
too. And
I'm 10 years in this year, so I'm going to celebrate in a big way.
There you go. Right, that's a great milestone. And I'd like to say thank you to Jerry and Gale Force Winds for inviting us here, and we're more than thankful to be able to support and sponsor and do that across all the events up here, and have an opportunity to talk to people like yourself and share our thoughts and ideas. And it's not hard to see that there's a lot of commonality in what people want to see happen, and that will drive it. That will be the driver of the success in this area, right?
Thank you.
So thank you to